1, 2, 3. Well, hello to those of you who've been here before, or welcome back to those of you who've been here before, and hello to those of you who have. Start things off like I always do with a little disclaimer. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a lawyer, damn sure ain't no money. So if you're looking for any advice, shrug off. You're not gonna find any here. Why? Because I'm nobody to you. Well, with that, I keep telling you about conversations. Fortunately, I happen to have a moment where I can catch a conversation for real. Now, this fine young gentleman, we will call him Dude, as we call everybody Dude, because honestly, he's nobody to you either. Alright? Yeah, maybe somebody he knows might see this, but truth is, he's nobody to you. To me, he's a skilled craftsman, a tradesman. He does tile while I do my painting. I think we both have mutual respect in our fields.
Absolutely.
And with that, we have conversations about the world abound. All sorts of things. I mean, we spend all day just going on about things.
Food for thought. I love it.
Constantly.
Mm-hmm.
And really, I mean, it makes the day go by quicker. It's a great thing. And at that, we're well enough practiced in our trades. We don't fuck shit up because we ain't paying attention. We're babbling basically to entertain ourselves as we do our job. And it's not truly babble. It's often great depth of thought.
But it's self-medicating. So if it works, why not keep it?
Right.
You know.
So in that way, I'm going to pin him down on the topic. Something we don't normally do with each other. We just go off in every direction.
Completely unrehearsed.
Unrehearsed. Geez, I couldn't remember it long enough to rehearse it. But generally speaking, I wanted to speak to you today about politicians.
Okay.
Everybody has just the worst. Everybody hates politicians. Oh my God. And I can understand Congress has an approval rating of, I think, like 12. You know what I mean? Out of 100. So it really goes to show everybody hates them. And when you talk about a politician,
Well,
to a
12%
person,
doesn't.
12% doesn't.
It seems to me.
I figure they're medicated or stupid.
Yeah. Well,
Leaning towards stupid.
uneducated.
Okay. Oh, definitely. Definitely. But at the same time, no, you're wrong, and I'm wrong in saying that. Yep, it's just the opposite. I saw a video the other day, and this is a guy I really think well of, a young man in the DC area. I say young man, I'm guessing he's late 30s. He's got kids who are married and graduating just recently, so in his 30s. And he was talking in support of, who's that bum in the Senate? The guy looks like he's homeless. Fetterman.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but listen, I have cut myself off simply because if I stay involved in politics, it seems to hurt my health more so. So,
Stress, yeah.
because of let's say, a lot of people think that the last cycle may have been tampered with or
Wonky. We'll say wonky at least.
Trying to be fair here, but
Yes. And not get kicked off the internet.
well, it pissed me off so bad I didn't want to be involved anymore.
Yes.
I thought it was completely unfair.
Yes, heartbreaking.
It was super heartbreaking, and it's not coming from a Trump supporter. It's coming from an American.
There you go.
And liberty wasn't used there. And most people say the word liberty means
See,
freedom.
This kind of, and I'm going to return us to our.
I didn't mean to get off the tangent there, but
that's fine. And
that's where my thoughts were.
This is what we do. But at the same time, with that same idea, like you said, well, I'm not a Trump supporter. Okay, so this
I didn't
guy.
say I didn't say yes or no.
Or not a Trump supporter, not that you wouldn't vote for him, but you're not like, waving the banner going, oh,
No, no.
Trump or die, Trump or die.
I'm policy, not person. Type
There you
person.
go. And I'm as much the same way. Now, at the same time, this young man, in his support of Fetterman, had made the comment about all those stuck-up people in Washington.
Okay. The lobbyists that have sold their
No.
souls, or the true
senators
American.
and the senators and the representatives, and of course, all those people associated higher up in agencies, offices, the actual president, vice president. But generally speaking, he said he was making the claim as though they were all stuck up. How many of them you think he knows, or has met and spent?
I would
10
say
minutes
zero.
with?
I would say zero.
That's what I'm gonna assume.
And he doesn't know those people, and nor do I.
See,
but
now, and this is where I chime into the 12%. I've met a good number of politicians. Now, in the percentage of politicians there are in the world, it's you had more chance of getting COVID than, you know what I mean? It's just the numbers are like way, way low in percentage of politicians. I've met maybe 15, 20. And at, usually what was minor level, basically state and what, they've now gone on to federal.
okay,
Right? And generally it was just like, you know, they might pop up to the table for a minute when I was sitting with a family member and shoot the breeze. They didn't talk politics. They talked people things.
right. Affiliation doesn't matter to them unless they are in Washington
Well, not just
representing.
that,
I
right?
think personally that they try not to put their personal life into their
A lot
politics.
of what we see in the politics is sold to us through a media that can only, at best, afford short clips to be able to produce a news program that's well versed. You know what I mean? Because if they did a story just on one subject matter from one politician, it would literally take an hour show and you still wouldn't get everything.
Right.
So they have to pick pieces here and there. And of course, in today's obvious leanings of the press, there is what pieces are being picked. One of the reasons I tell people about NPR and
I agree
I
with
listen to it is because they do longer stories. They may have an entire show on one subject matter.
Right.
All right, so that brings us back to the politician thing. Now, there's a guy.
I have known a few, by the way. just
Okay,
so-
okay. And at that, did you like him?
Love them to this day.
Okay.
Taught me many life lessons.
So
I grew up with a buddy. His
Now-
dad was sheriff of the county at one time, so
Okay.
I was pretty closely
So
related.
now have I taken you out of the, what would that be, 88%? Brought you at least to 87%.
yeah.
Okay. Now, generally speaking, how many of the people they associated with did you at least come across? You know what I mean?
Meaning their constituent or
No,
their colleagues?
Their colleagues.
Several actually.
Okay.
And,
What was your opinion of them?
They were always good to me. You know, I never ever had any ill will towards any
Did
of
you
them.
talk
I'm
policy ever?
Well, no, because they weren't working. I was in the private sector when I've seen them, so I only
Because
know
they
them
were
as
just people.
they were just people to me, and all I see them today as people. I don't see them as politicians either. So, so there it is. Maybe I don't know any politicians.
And
To a certain degree,
it's
yeah.
funny because we,
But I know politics, and I know how they are.
right, and politics is an art, and at that, a bit of an art of war.
Well, here it is. I'll give you an example. They don't even talk to each other in proper name. They are colleagues or they are associates.
Well-
they never say anything bad towards the people unless it's under their breath and secondhanded, if you will. They don't
No, generally,
they're not allowed to pinpoint a person, name, place, or thing when they are on the podium. if you noticed.
Yes, or on the floor, both House and Senate.
Either way, right?
Yes, and that's one of those things that bothered me about the whole
It
Fetterman
can't get
thing.
personal, is my point.
The whole Fetterman thing. Now, you're right, it can't get personal, and we generally, as people, take on that mantle of making it.
Well, the
personal.
emotions set in immediately with average humans, and so the politicians know that they
Because
can't
of
have that involved.
that much of a conversation.
Correct.
So generally speaking, I mean, we're thought, oh, these are terrible people, blah blah blah. I'll give you a good example. Nancy Pelosi has voted for what I consider some of the worst policies of our nation, and has really led us more towards what they call social democracy, which we won't go on to that. Let's stick with the politician aspect. I bet her grandkids love her. She's probably the greatest human on earth to them people.
You would think a lady like that is probably fun.
Yes.
In the private sector.
Yes.
So I don't like her either, or I don't even know if you said that. I never liked her, but I can tell you this: you better respect her because she was there for 45 years for a reason,
I tell
right?
you
I
what.
mean, somebody likes her.
Now,
Somebody likes those policies.
I'll give you an example of a politician that I've not really watched, but couldn't help but take notice of through the years, because she kind of, she didn't really straddle the fence on her policies, but she spoke up on policies in a way that was not biased as much as this is the functionality of this policy. And that's that lady that just recently died. Now I'm doing
Feinstein.
Diane.
Dianne
Now,
Feinstein.
later on in her career, she became more the diehard party advocate. But earlier on in her career, she was kind of like who's the the independent chick? She's hot. She's from Hawaii.
Well, she's
Gabby something or something like that. Yeah, you know, basically the hot chick from Hawaii.
And she is a Democrat,
Yes.
but now she's an independent.
No, at the same time, even when she was a Democrat, she had that same aspect of
She is, and I
what
don't mean
is
to interrupt
the
you.
value and cause and effect. Smoking hot, yes, I know. Couldn't
Super
help
hot.
notice.
On the other side is of that, the Gabby Tabbitt, whatever her name is,
Right.
is Matt Gaetz. Okay, so Matt Gaetz is a Florida representative, and to me, he is no nonsense, and we need more of that in Washington. I think
Now it's funny to me.
he will offend you and not care. He is the exception to the rule. Dude.
I mean, he's not a heartless person.
No, I'm not saying
But
that.
here's-
I love Matt
here's-
Gaetz.
yeah,
Period.
Here's my opinion. He's a goofy fucker, dude. I'd
If he
still
were-
love to hang out with
If
him
he
one
were,
time.
he's never going to run
No.
for president. But if he does,
No, you say never. He's quite a young man.
it's in my blood that he does better where he's at. He holds them accountable more so.
Oh,
unless
my God.
If he takes the red pill,
You know
it's
what-
not going to be the same Matt Gaetz.
You know what's terribly funny? Everybody's bitching about what he's doing up there in the House of Representatives now.
Mhm.
It's the same thing he did in Florida. He shook the apple cart. He
Let him
did,
go.
dude. He went in there and went, "Hey guys, guess
We-
what? Yeah,
don't
these are great
need-
apples, but those are bad. Those are bad. Those are bad. Let's get rid of them and sort this out."
So this is a guy we're talking about who supports term limits and is in a term himself, right?
Which is funny. I do not.
Well, I'm just saying
Yeah.
that is a big topic right now.
Oh, I would love
And it
to
has
talk
been
to
for
him
many years.
about it. I'd love to try and sway his thinking.
The founding fathers knew that this was going to happen. Okay.
Then why didn't they set term limits?
Well, they did after a while. It took them a little bit, but they did it on
On
the presidency, which
what?
was the most important.
No, that was after Franklin Delano Roosevelt was going for a fourth.
Okay, so all right, so it took a while.
Oh yeah, but
Okay.
it's one of those things.
But they realized that-
not the founding fathers.
You're right. So then I'm wrong there. There are a lot of things that I know about these guys that they were no nonsense. You're right.
Now at the same time, they also had their this guy's an asshole. Don't deal with him. or
Oh, there was
whatever,
definitely a
you know?
political side to it, right? I mean,
Well, and it's funny too because for them, the policies weren't necessarily just what made the
well, they were
person good or
predominantly
bad,
conservative
but
at that particular time.
very libertarian at that time. I
But
wouldn't even give it
which leans to the right,
Yes.
right? So,
and no.
but
See,
there
that's
is liberal
crazy.
physicalities to their lives. I'm
Liberals
sure.
are liberal. They should be libertarians. They should be your liberties. All right.
Which that word turned
Now-
evil after the 50s, if you ask me,
Dude,
to a certain degree.
It flips and if you look through
Ronald
history,
Reagan
it flips
once
and
said-
flops and flips and flops.
Well, Ronald Reagan once said that if fascism were to ever come to the United States, it would come in the form of liberalism. And that was a quote from that dude.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was his
If
quote.
he'd have thought about it, he probably would have said democracy.
Well, look what happened to him. He literally was in a conservative state, and right after him, they flipped liberal as quick as the day is long, right? So, but
Because they didn't have a voice like they had with him, I think.
I thought Ronald Reagan was the guy. The
Right.
guy that they always say, "What's the answer to 1984?" Well, it's 1776. That is the answer to 1984.
or maybe
the-
verse advice. What is the answer
Depends
to
on what side of the fence you're on.
1776?
Well,
The answer was 1984, but Reagan had many policies that were quite liberal.
I agree with that.
And as much as he was,
But he fixed a dying economy single-handedly, if you ask me.
I mean, generally you have to give some credit to the people he was involved with.
But put it this way, by the time he had, when Ronald Reagan was in his second term, by the time his second year of his second term, we had a not a deficit, what's the opposite of a deficit? A surplus
Okay,
of money,
yeah.
okay? By the time Bill Clinton, his last year, 92,
Yeah, yeah.
we had a deficit.
Okay, now there's a good
So
example.
that's just one good example,
Of
if you ask me.
politician thing. We'll go back to the politician thing. Ronald Reagan is beloved by many people. Okay?
The left and the right.
Yes. Now, at the same time, Bill Clinton is beloved by many people.
Yeah.
Not too many on the right.
I'm on the right. I'm a libertarian. I lean right, but
Right.
the economy was booming when Bill was in office. No matter what his personal stuff was, I didn't vote for him.
See, this is
I would never vote for
This
him.
is one of the things that kind of gets me, and it lends itself once again to is the politician good or bad? The 12% versus the 88%. Generally speaking, we are not deciding if they're good people on who they are.
Well, that's the thing about
We're deciding if they're good people if they agree with us.
right. So that's why if you watch them in motion in their native environment, their natural habitat, they don't address people by their names. They are a colleague.
Yes.
Right? And they don't ever point to one person. It is the whole group
No.
as a unit.
No. You see
They-
them on
I'm
the
saying
floor, they call each other
They
out.
do. No. I meant to.
My esteemed colleague.
Even if they're
blah, blah,
pointing,
blah.
even if they're pointing to one dude, they're still pointing to the whole party.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Yeah.
So,
I think the infection of being so, and the word radical is just thrown out there so much, but so radically party oriented is part of what makes a good politician who's a good person trying to put forth good legislation that considers the pros and cons of the legislation, not the will this get me more votes. Okay, not the handout politician, but the ones who really are trying
the one
to
accepts
do
money
things.
from George Soros, that person? Yeah. Well, I know that person. I didn't mean to get too
Nah,
controversial there.
that's a
But
whole nother thing. Where the money
it
comes
is.
from is a whole nother
I'm
story.
just saying, if they're
It's all
accepting the
part
dirty
of-
money,
it's
they're
all
real
part of that
politicians.
further depth of who controls the world, and we're not going there.
But it's not fair, is my point.
Nothing's fair.
If,
Fair is where you go and you play on Ferris wheels and carousels.
never argue that one point. I never ever will argue that. I know that life isn't fair. My point is that that particular person is out in the open doing things that that is right in his eyes in the world.
Yes.
And then to the other half of the world, it is the devil.
Yes. And see, that's the funny thing is once again, that goes to show you that we are calling politicians good and bad if we agree with them. Even though we don't know all their stances on all their policies, courtesy of the media, the format, and the way it must be presented to conserve time. Generally speaking, we're sold whether they're good and bad, not whether they truly are. You know what I mean? And it paints such a bad picture, and I think a lot of that is, how can I put it? It's like a group mindset. All right, like if you stand in the crowd and you look up and you nudge somebody, they'll look up, and the next thing you know, everybody's fucking looking up.
Yeah.
What are they looking at? Nothing. You stand in the crowd and you go, listen.
A lot of them are
several
gonna do it.
people
Oh,
will
yeah.
echo back.
I think that
Matter of fact, somebody watching this may have just coughed in response to my
Probably.
false cough.
So here, to your point, and it might not make any sense to what you're saying or not, but the Earth has a solid iron core,
Okay.
and it's spinning, right? And what it
As
does,
far as we know.
as we know, what they tell us. Remember, I'm not there, so I don't know.
Science,
This is what they're telling us,
it's
right?
carved in stone.
So if this iron core is spinning, it's creating a magnetic force field that extends out way past our atmosphere and serves a purpose. Obviously, it protects
Right.
us from galactic and cosmic violence.
Right.
It protects us from all kinds of radiation.
Yep.
It protects us from all kinds of stuff. It
Yep.
is what really makes the world spin.
Well, it's what makes the world safe. That's for sure.
Well, we're in the Goldilocks zone and it enables this. So
Yes, yes.
that's not here nor there. But I think to that point that influences a lot of people, all people, and in particular politicians. So,
Oh,
so I don't
I
know.
was lending it more towards human nature and upbringing.
I think look, there's spots on the earth that are hot spots.
True.
True. That some people believe that are interdimensional. And I didn't mean to get off
No,
tangent.
no, but you're basically
But I still
going
think it
with the
affects the
idea
human
that,
the human domain.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's a little far-reaching,
It is.
but at the same time, I mean.
Well, you knew that
tends
going
to
into this
be-
conversation,
yes.
though.
Oh, then that's why you're here.
That's right.
Would have it no other way.
Thank you, sir.
It's what makes our days go
Why
by.
not? It's gotta be food for thought. Or it makes no sense to me.
Yeah. But generally speaking, it's such a personal thing. We make it so personal with politicians.
That's where people get messed up. That's where it is. You got to draw the line. There cannot be emotions involved in politics. That is why they don't address each other by name.
All right, but I think it's Churchill gets credited with the saying that if you're not a liberal at 20, you have no heart, and if you're not a conservative at 40, you have no brain, or something like that.
That's
Which makes perfect sense.
It is perfect sense,
You know,
and it makes
because
sense.
When you're young, everything's good and positive, and you can change the world. And whenever you're 40, you're like, screw this shit. I just want to find me a place to die.
Yeah, and well, at least
You know?
be peaceful
and be ready for it.
Yeah, just have a peaceful way out.
Yes, yes.
I don't.
Rather than dropping on the job.
Libertarianism, the epitome of it is, I don't tell you what to do, you don't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's the rule.
Well, dude, I hate to cut this short, but I think my machine went eat, and it's time for me to get my damn laundry out of somebody else's way.
Me too.
So,
Well,
all right, brother.
I appreciate it.
We will have another conversation.
I'll
Don't
be-
know if it'll be on tape, but you know us.
I'll be waiting with bated breath, sir.
Our laundry always sits too long in the machine,
It does.
doesn't it?
We're men. We like
I
wrinkled
love
clothes.
it. All right. Well, with that, I'm going to say thanks real quick to everybody who's taking the time to watch this, because for me, time is the most valuable thing you have, and I appreciate any that you spent here with us. Thanks to my guest for, basically just having a conversation
That's it.
with me. And
I
with
appreciate
that,
the opportunity, my friend.
You're welcome. And with that, I got to get my shit out of people's way. Thanks.